So today we're going to talk about teams that are in no man's land. Teams that you kind of think are good, but they're not tanking. The rosters have some stars to them. My criteria roughly is a darker future if you take one player away. They either have a quarterback but nothing around them, or they have no quarterback but it seems like all the pieces are together. Including with that, you have some cap issues. You got bad contracts that you're not going to be able to get off for a while. And I'm going to go through like roughly 3 to 4 teams that I feel that don't have the brightest future. And this video isn't going to be titled teams with the darkest future, because I would just start ranting about the Seattle Seahawks, who are on this list. But stuck in no man's land also kind of goes with the coaching and ownership, and what I felt like the Bengals could be still in no man's land, but they are on the come up with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But I still feel ownership is kind of in a lull. It's almost like when you're losing weight per se, and you've lost that first 15 pounds and your goal is 30, right? But you're still stuck at that lost at 15. You've only lost 15. You're doing the same thing over and over, and you're working your butt off, but you're still at 15 2 months later. And the first team I really wanted to talk about today is I wanted to talk about the Broncos. And the Broncos could be a team that are on their way out of no man's land, in a sense that they could be selling. You see Von Miller's gone, and that might have just been a contractual thing and trying to get him in a more winning situation. This is more of a team that, from the outside and looking at the paper, you see a lot of talent. You got Bradley Chubb, you got Patrick Surtain, you got a lot of weapons on offense with Jerry Jeudy, and maybe the running backs need to get a little bit of a tweak, with Melvin Gordon probably not being the answer. Quarterback is a big question mark, and they kind of fit that slot of a team that doesn't have a quarterback, but you see everything around them kind of fits. And it's a team that I think if Aaron Rodgers per se were to go to, I think they could be a playoff team, near Super Bowl team. Not as much with Von Miller, but I also think Von Miller is still very injury prone. I was a little iffy on his impact on the Rams, and I think he's going to be more of a playoff impact player than a regular season player. But I think really it depends on how the Broncos want to go. I know they have an aggressive GM with John Elway, so I don't think they're going to be in this little lull for a while. But I also see that they've been in this for the past 5 years. Coming off of that Super Bowl, they still had a ton of talent, and at the same time, they haven't really been able to capitalize it. And that's also a kind of thing when we go to our next team with the Vikings. The Vikings are another team that this is probably more apparent than the Broncos on. They also on having a good roster, but kind of limited by their quarterback. And I think this is more limited by Mike Zimmer. As we see this year, specifically, they have been in almost every single game. They've been practically, I can't say what their point differential is, but they've been in every single game, and they won this weekend against the Chargers. But the thing about being in no man's land is they're supposed to give you hope without actually giving you an actual chance at a Super Bowl run, and that's what the Vikings are. I think they are the epitome of being in no man's land, of giving a fan base hope without really giving them an actual shot at a championship. And if they were tanking, then there would be no hope at all. And the Broncos started 3-0 this year, and they also had a little bit of hope going on. Now, I think they're on the bottom end, more leaning to another rebuild. But the Vikings, you don't know where they kind of land. And I think Mike Zimmer doesn't really fit this team's play calling. I think Kirk Cousins could still lead a team to a Super Bowl, but I don't feel like the play calling and this team needs some juice to them. They need like a Cam Newton coming into Carolina kind of juice, something to really revitalize this franchise. And they believe in Kellen Mond at the backup quarterback, but I think they're also limited at the cap position with Kirk Cousins' contract on there. And They have some aging stars on the defense, and they're going to probably have to rebuild this defense. Filling it with Patrick Peterson isn't going to be the real answer for this team. They may have a darker future than people really realize. And I think Mike Zimmer and I think the stars on this team is what keeps them competitive in a lot of these games and overmasks a lot of the issues overall. The next team I wanted to talk about was the New Orleans Saints, and this one is kind of debatable. I don't want to put this in mainly because I feel like it's a little premature, but if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit that I'm wrong, but I do feel like this team is set up to be in kind of a weird spot. They could be in for a rebuild next year, and I wouldn't be surprised by it, but I feel like they are built to kind of last a little bit, but then again, I see a lot of flaws with this team, but their defense is continually surprising me from week to week. And if you have a set up for a good defense and you only have to focus on the offense, I feel like you're set up to win a Super Bowl better than trying to fix a terrible defense, which I'll get into with my last team. But I feel like if they fix the quarterback position and they get some better pieces on the outside, they're right back in it. They're right back into playoff contention and being a contender. But right now I feel that they are a wild card looking in versus potentially getting to a divisional round or winning a division. Obviously, I don't think they will win a division with the Buccaneers, but they have some serious issues. I don't think Jameis was the answer in the first place. I think Jameis was a project kind of like a Sam Darnold, where you kind of hope to capitalize on his potential, but you kind of know what his ceiling is, and there's just some things you can't fix. And him getting injured doesn't help that whatsoever. And they have some talent, but then again, they're going to have to pay some guys. I don't know if Alvin Kamara is on a big contract yet. Michael Thomas is probably going to be on the out. Cameron Jordan, I think, might be on a big contract, but he may be looking to get more money. They have a lot of talent on this team that might need to get paid, and I will give them credit. The Saints are one of those teams that do handle cap really well, and so they may not be in no man's land for a long time. But I do feel like as of right now, it's a team that gives a lot of hope. But then again, they're more of a pretender. But then again, I think they're at best a wild card out, or kind of in that 15-16 range. But for my last team, it will be the Seattle Seahawks, my personal favorite team. I won't go on a big old rant like I did last on my previous couple videos ago, but I feel like this is the most apparent team of having a quarterback but no one else. The other teams, they kind of have everything fixed, but if you just upgraded the quarterback, they could be an elite team. But this team, I won't repeat a lot of the frustrations I've had, but I feel like it's apparent that Russell Wilson is the Seattle Seahawks. If it was Seattle Wilson's, I wouldn't be surprised by it, because he covers up so much of this team and what's wrong with it and what's apparent issues. This defense is outdated. The scheme is outdated, and there's overpaying on these players. I think this team with the Vikings are the epitome of really no man's land, of having false hope. And I've felt this for the past couple years, and I'm worried that this team is about to go into rebuild. I think they're closer to a rebuild than they are more getting back into contenders. And I think Russell Wilson will be gone in this offseason or next offseason. I don't know how to feel about this team specifically. I'm going to try to take my emotions out of it, but I'm just trying to give a quick breakdown of all these teams. I think I'm going to throw in one more team that I think could be in no man's land right now, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. A little bonus team, a little breakdown. I feel that the Colts are kind of in no man's land. I think they're getting closer to being contenders, if anything. I know I've said no man's land over and over. Take a shot every time I say no man's land. I don't care, but I feel like the Colts are set up to win a Super Bowl. They have all the pieces there, and Jonathan Taylor is an up-and-coming running back. This is the time you want to capitalize on a young running back. You don't want to have to pay him or trade him, and then you lose a very, very good running back. He is incredible to watch. If you don't watch a lot of Colts games, which I don't blame you, it's like the Indiana Pacers. Watch Jonathan Taylor. He's electric to watch. Michael Pittman is a young receiver. You're not paying him much. I think this team doesn't deal with as much cap issues as, say, the Seahawks or the Vikings do. But I don't believe in Carson Wentz, and I hope Carson proves me wrong. I love when he was in Philadelphia. He was playing great. I loved watching him play Seattle, and he was incredible to watch, and he made some insane throws, but I don't know if he's the long-term answer. And I don't even think he's really the problem. I think it's a mix of they don't have that second weapon, and they're gonna have to pay Quentin Nelson. They're gonna have to start paying these guys that I can't remember the outside linebacker for Indianapolis, but they have some guys that they're gonna have to pay, and they could potentially be in no man's land of in and out of a wild card. I just don't see them having enough weapons or really the talent to stack up against, like, say, a Patriots, a Chiefs. I'm still throwing the Chiefs in there. A Chargers, a Bills. I mean, these are contention guys, and it's not a bad thing to be in this spot because you're either on one side of the coin or the other. But right now they're in the dead middle, and they could flip one way or the other. I just don't want to see these teams get stuck here for long periods of time, because I think the king of being in this spot is the Cincinnati Bengals. I know there's a lot of slander for them, but they're on the come up. They're a team on the rise, and these teams I don't feel like are on the rise or on the decline. They're kind of weird to analyze. I think if you were to make me to go like thumbs up, thumbs down, I think the Broncos are on a thumbs down right now. I think the Saints are on a thumbs up. They're hard to analyze. I think the Vikings are on a thumbs down, Seahawks thumbs down, and I got the Colts probably. They're more likely to become contenders, if anything. I didn't really want to put them in, but they were a team that I thought could potentially be in a no man's land area. But this is just a quick synopsis of like teams I feel that fit that mold. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to try to produce as many videos as I can. I'm still trying to get used to recording and doing this, but this is what I love to do. If you like my videos and want to see me talk about things when it comes to football or basketball, right now I'm watching the Lakers-Bucks game. I might do a quick video on that, but thank you for watching.